Hi there, I'm Ken Lammers. Welcome to Minor League Matters. And if you've been around for a while and watched anything to do with the Reds, which I don't know how many people out there outside of dedicated Red fans do that anymore, but if you've been around for a while, you remember when Aroldis Chapman was with the Reds and he was just lighting up the ninth inning, maybe even the eighth if they really were desperate, but lighting up one inning, and there was a lot of call for him being a starter. Why isn't he a starter? Why isn't he a starter? I think it's fairly obvious why he wasn't a starter because he couldn't go longer than 2 innings. But, for those people who were screaming about Chapman being a starter, I think we may have found a solution for you. And his name is Greene. Yeah, I know. There are people out there that don't believe that Hunter Greene can make it all the way to the big leagues or think that playing the percentages, you never know how a pitcher is going to turn out. They could have to have Tommy John surgery 12 times. The batters could figure out what their kryptonite is and be able to hit them every time somebody comes up to the plate. They may be able to tear up A, advanced A, double A, and then when they hit triple A, just stall out. I know all this is possible, but as it stands, at his level right now, Hunter Greene is doing pretty well. Well, his stats aren't all that great, but if you watch him pitching, he's doing pretty well. We'll say I watched him at the beginning of the year, and at the beginning of the year, his fastball, while fast, really wasn't there. Lacked control, was hittable, and what was surprising was he turned out he had some pretty good breaking stuff that was working better than his fastball against the batters. So I thought, it's been a while. I watched him at the beginning, then I did another one a while back where I broke down how his pitching went that one day. You have to look at the blog to find that one. And yesterday he pitched four innings and three batters into the in a game against the captains of Lake County Captains, and did a pretty good job. But here's what I'm going to tell you. I broke it down. Now get ready to hit your. Well, I don't know. Here's where the breakdown is. Right now, I'm going to put this up on the blog as well, so you may go look at there more. Um, I see, and it was almost all fastballs. Yeah, there was one or two breaking pitches, maybe up to five, maybe two changeups, probably one. The other may have been a breaking pitch. But the rest of it was all fastballs. And for what they were okay, pretty good. He's got a speed. I mean, they're always talking about his speed, right? 98, 99, 100. I think he got one pitch was up to 101 this time. The problem is that most of his pitch, he's got basically three levels he throws the fastball at. He's got a rising fastball, which hits the top of the strike zone, and which the batters are obviously having a hard time hitting. But either doesn't have enough control to get it there all the time, or it's not called, or it's just a mistake when it happens, right? But that's the sharpest looking fastball he's got, right? Then he's got a center of the plate fastball, right at the waist fastball, which he's trying to play inside and out. However, when he wants to get speed, he really throws it down the center. There was at least one batter who he just threw it straight through flamers, straight down the center three times. The batter missed it each time. However, this, waist high, inside outside fastball is hittable. It has speed to it, but the batters were obviously able to put wood on it, right? And I think that the singles that got hit today, and maybe even the home run, were all from this fastball. And then he has this disaster ball, which is, I don't know if it's the mid-level fastball that's lost and goes down, or if he's purposely pitching low. But there's this low, really poorly angled fastball that he just does not have control over, and is not hitting the strike zone anyway. It appears different when it comes out of his arm and the trajectory is just straight down into the dirt at about the plate, and even if it's not straight down, hitting at about the plate, and it goes to the catcher's mitt, it's not a strike. It's always too low because of the trajectory. It just looks weird. It looks like he's throwing a different pitch, and he's not getting there. Although he may be throwing for the mid-level fastball and just losing it, or throwing too hard. And that might be it too. It kind of does look like maybe he's throwing too hard on some stuff, and that's what's causing it to go straight into the ground. Didn't throw many breaking balls this time. Although when he did throw them, they seemed to be fairly successful. It threw high breaking ball that really fooled one batter. Didn't seem to throw the real big breaks like he did earlier in the season, and he was you know he was negating a bunch of calls at least early on, which I think may have been breaking balls that he was calling out. He's just pitching and pitching hard. Looks like he may be turning into a hurler. I hope not, because it did look like he had fairly decent breaking stuff early on, and that, if developed, will make him better, as opposed to if he just turns into a hurler. Yeah, it's successful, pretty successful in single A, although he did give up a home run and I think 3 hits. Gets strikeouts, right? Because a lot of people in single A can't keep up with it, but some of them could. And as he moves up and they winnow out the weaker members of the herd, in Double A, I don't know how well that's going to work. And in Triple A, if he hasn't got something else to throw, I'm not sure that he's going to make it. However, if they can get this fastball under control, the high riser going really well, the good breaking, good changeup, maybe even the mid-level fastball, if he could disguise it a little bit more, or maybe work the corners a little bit more. I don't know. That one, I suspect, is going to be hittable. Although he does seem a fair amount of his repartee seems to be putting balls into play that should result in outs, right? Which is not a bad thing either. If you got a guy that gets ground ball or pop outs all the time, yeah, that guy's just as good as the guy who gets strikeouts all game long. But as it stands right now, he's doing pretty good. I think he's going to stay in single A for a while. At the beginning of the season, I thought he might get transferred down to either Greenville or back to Billings. Probably Greenville, so they could keep him closer. And now I'm pretty sure he's going to stay where he's at. Maybe towards the end of the season, assuming he gets it all under control, he'll move up. I mean, he outside of the home run he gave up in the 5th inning, he got out of every inning. A couple of the hard patches he got into weren't really his fault. There were a couple errors that put him in hard patches. But he does seem to be doing okay in single A. I suspect if he's improved like he has now, and this game he did improve quite a bit. I mean, he keeps improving as the season goes on. By the end of the season, he'll be ready for Advanced A, and people like me won't be able to follow him because the Tortugas aren't on the internet as opposed to the Dragons, who are, until he finally gets out of there and goes to Double A. I don't know if by the end of the season he'll make it to the point he is going to make it to Double A, or that may be a year to year and a half off. We'll see. However, if he does go, I suspect you're going to see the kind of speeds, he 100, 101, high 90s a lot. And, those of you who wanted that fastball pitcher, fireball pitcher, Aroldis Chapman pitcher to be a starter, this is your guy. And you should be rooting for him to make it. And I look forward to seeing him in the majors 3 to 4 years out. But I look forward to seeing him there and wish him all the luck in the world. And I think this will be my last Hunter Greene breakdown because I hope the guy's not following me here. But at this point, I think he's improved to the point that I really don't need to look at him until maybe the end of the season again if he's still at Dayton Dragons, or sometime maybe if I get up there for a live game. So until then, I'm going to let him go. Maybe I'll start concentrating on another Reds prospect or another prospect period out there in the world and see how they go. If you like what you've seen here today, folks, y'all know the rules. If you like what you see, hit like. If you like what you see around here generally, hit subscribe. And, you might want to hit the notification button, that little bell, just in case I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be. I got that day job, and, for some reason, to pay me that check, they expect me to work. I don't know why. Uh, but until the next time, folks, right now it's the 25th of May. We've got hockey playoffs going on, the Calder Cup, the Kelly Cup, and that Stanley thing. And we've got NBA, I don't care so much. We've got soccer ongoing, USL, MLS. We've got baseball ongoing, affiliated minors, unaffiliated minors, the Major League. It's a great time of year. And if you're sitting at home doing nothing and you're within an hour of a minor league team, shame on you. Go out and watch some minor league sports. Have some fun, folks. Till next time, y'all have a good day. I have to run that through the thing too.